Hey, welcome back. This is Rick Garza talking to you today about the character, the habits, and the life of a professional sales athlete. It's always good to remind ourselves that you and I expect so much of a professional athlete, how they prepare for the game, how they plan their strategies for the game, and then how they execute it. But part of that delivery of what you expect from a professional athlete applies to you and me as well as professional sales athletes, and that is habits. And habits is a very, very fundamental, foundational thing that I want to talk to you about this morning. Because according to Og Mandino, the author of The Greatest Salesman in the World, he tells us that we are all slaves to habits. We are either slaves to good habits or as bad habits. And as children, we were all slaves to our impulses. I've got a grandson, Hudson James, who I love to life. But right now, as he's growing up, about a year and a half, he is slave to his impulses. He's curious. He wants to pick up things. He wants to throw things. He wants to just explore. But as life grows for him, he'll learn the habits that are best for him. Much like as we grow in our lives as salespeople, as sales athletes, we need to define what are those habits that are going to give us the greatest success. You know, our brain programs our habits. We have these neurotransmitters that connect one to another, and over time you create pathways, and those pathways create the habits, the way we respond, the way we act when the snooze button is screaming at us early in the morning, the way we respond when a customer is irritated at us, the way we plan when it comes to getting ready for the day. And probably the best way to look at our brain is if you've ever been at a large college campus or a large park, they have already pre-paved the way they want us to walk. You have the sidewalks and they expect you to walk on those sidewalks because that's the way they want you to behave. But if you've gone to a campus, you're going to find these pathways that have been trodden on by students or by guests, and after a while, those sidewalks may be there, but there's these new pathways that have been created because people keep walking over and over down this pathway, and that's how new trails or new habits are created. Well, in your world and our world, we have habits. Our brain is pre-programmed because of how we were raised and how we responded over time, to where we have these pathways that have been established in our mind. And the question becomes, how do we change those habits that we know are hurting us? How do we change those habits of not being responsive? Or how do we change those habits of not handling objections the way we need to based upon how the customer is reacting? How do we react when it comes to situations at home and there's a conversation that needs to be had? The bottom line is we need the right habits so we have the right responses. Once we develop those habits, then the responses almost happen autonomically, is a word used. In other words, it happens almost just without even thinking about it. So the question I have is, what habits are you slaves to today? And I need to step back and say, so what are the habits that are holding me back? And this won't be answered in a 5-minute little video message here. It's going to cause you to sit back and write down the things that you know that in the past have caused you maybe not to be as responsive, and as a result, you've not achieved the success that you wanted. But I can guarantee you is, as a professional athlete, gets up early, does the drills that no one else wants to do, stays up late to read about books, to plan for the next game, who gives their all because of their determination and because of their principles that have been taught in their lives over and over and over, they have developed the habits of success of a professional athlete. I want to challenge you this morning to take a moment and maybe just pick one or two things that you know those habits are hindering you, and ask yourselves, how can I reprogram my brain? How can I create a new pathway in my neurotransmitters to create those habits? But at the same time, ask yourself, what are those habits that are helping you be successful, and even strengthen those more than they are before, because that will get you to where you want to be. We're all slaves to habits, Are you a slave to good habits or bad habits? That's the question we all need to ask today. Have a great day and go make it happen. Bye-bye.